Okay, just now we forgot to put a tab here, so it becomes 10.5, looks like 105. So what you can do is you just put a tab. So how do you put a tab? Just using this notation /t. Alright, so when you compile and you run, so you have a space between 10 and 5, right? So that's how you put that's how you use two arguments, right? So this is multiple arguments, and you can in these arguments or parameters you can have of different type as well. So let's say I want to put another one. I put character C, right? So I'll be expecting one character. Let's say I just put A, or just put A there. I don't have to put a variable. So now my prototype should be character. So what happened is my function calls, I have num1 and num2, and then I just keep a value A. Okay, so now we have value A will be received as character C. So I want to also print out C. So what I'll do is, I'll just add another tab /t and /t and just print out C. Okay, so my function prototype has already been updated with character. So compile. Oh, there's an error here. Okay, so we have to put a quotient mark because A should be in quotient single quotes. Compile and run. So now you have 10, 5 and A. So it's a huge step there. Alright, okay, I think you should be able to understand about parameters now. So your functions can have many parameters of not just one type but of also of different type. So let's say you have integer arguments will be promoted or demoted as necessary to match parameters. So in this case, let's say I have rather than sending okay, let's say I change the num1 into the variable names in my the variable type in my main program as float. Okay, so I'll just change this to 10.5 and this would be just 5. Okay, so what will happen? Compile and run again. So my output is still 10 because it has been, the float value is being demoted. Okay, it's some known as narrow conversion, which means you come from a larger range to a smaller range. So float has a larger range of values than the integer, so it will be demoted. So if you have float to integer, it will be demoted. So there will be no decimal places shown unless you change this to float. Okay, since only one variable affected, so because I changed that to I only do 0.5 for variable num1, so I need to change this to float. Okay, so if you do this, then only your variable A, the A in the print hello will become float and it will print out 10.5. Okay, I hope this is clear for you guys. Right? Passing multiple arguments, I've shown that. Okay, so remember the order of argument is very important. So this is the argument. In this argument there are 3 parameters. This is the print hello arguments in the brackets. So the first parameter is num1, num2 and A. Num1 will correspond to the first parameter, the first parameter in print hello, which is A. Num2 B, A will start in C. So the order is important. So you need to make sure that you don't change the order intentionally. Okay, right. So okay, that's about passing multiple argument, right? So program 6.8 shows this. So this is the diagram. So this is your function call, same like this. Okay, you have this one, print hello num1 num2 and A. So for this, show sum, value 1, value 2 and value 3, and you have the function header here, show sum, integer number 1, number 2 and number 3. So value 1 will be copied to number 1, value 2 will be copied in number 2, num2, and value 3 will be copied into num3. Okay, so that's the order. Okay, passing data by value. What we have been doing so far is about passing data by value. Okay, so what does it mean by passing data by value? Is that when you pass an argument or function, you are actually doing a copy from that variable, the variable in the function calling it, to the function itself. So changes, therefore, so you're talking about two different variables, and the value is being passed from one to another, as I mentioned earlier. So therefore, if you change one value in one of that variable, the other value will not be changed. Okay, so this is the illustration of what is happening. So in your, let's say in your calling function, you have a variable val, okay, with a value of 5, and you do this even or odd val. So you send this variable val to function called even and odd. Sorry, inside the function even or odd, it okay, it accept a parameter, a value data type integer with a name num. Okay, so what happened is there are two variable in two memory address, one called val, one called num. Val exists as long as main exists. Num exists as long as even or odd exists, which means as long as the function is alive. Okay, so what happens when you do this function even or odd val, the value of memory, the value inside this memory address val will be copied into the memory address of num. Okay, so you're talking about two memory address. So that is one weakness of using pass by data. If you have too many parameters passed by data, you're actually using too many. You are using many memory space. Okay, so it's very hard to determine the consistency, because you cannot, if you change anything in num, you are not changing anything in val. Okay, so if you change in num doesn't mean you change in val. So you cannot change num and expect it to be changed in the main program. So therefore, for this pass by value functions, usually we'll have a return type of integer, one value only, to do some process, and at the end return one value, or we just printing the value. Okay, right. So the next, before we go on further with other types of other types of functions, we want to see how these functions used as menu driven programs. Okay, you will be using you in your assignment 2, you'll need to do this. Yeah, so using functions in menu driven programs, you can see program 6.10 in the book. Basically, you need to implement user choices from menu, and you need to implement general purpose tasks. Okay, so you can do some function like choices. Okay, let's try one example. Alright, so let me create one function, void menu. Okay, what do I want to put in menu? I'll just put void display menu, because we haven't learned about other other return type. We're only looking at void return type, so void functions, menu, and then that's all. So now I want to call void menu, so I just say menu, and then what does my menu do? So I just add here void menu, and my function definition. So see out choose what you want to do. And line. So I forgot the portion. Okay. And so we have something like the out A block B and line the out P quiet and line. Okay, so now we can actually comment all this print hello. Okay, you see, if even you're not using the print hello, you can still let the function be there. So, oh sorry, where does my menu go? So I'm display. I am declare as display menu. Okay, compile again. First to this white display menu. Okay. Display menu. Yeah, I will use display menu. Okay, so make sure you got your name, functions name are all correct and consistent. So in my case, hello world from main, choose what you want to do. So you didn't expect any user input there. So if let's say I want to use a user input there, so the normal thing to do is to put cin, right? Cin choice. So in order to use choice, need to declare what is choice. So in this case, we'll need a declaration for variable choice, tab empty choice. So it's type integer. Oh sorry, it's a character. Which one's that? It's a character choice. Car choice. Okay, so let's compile this again and run. Okay, now you can key in. So let's say I put A. So doesn't matter whether it's capital A or not. Okay, so what happened next is stop, because whatever being inserted here will not be effective, because once this is done, the control goes back to the main function, and from the display menu function, we are not returning anything to the main function because we are using void type. Unless we change this into character, because we have a character to return it to. So the character is actually choice. So now I have to change my display menu as character car, and how it accept here is different. So I have to have one variable car. Let me use car C. Car C, enter. So now I have to put something like this. C equal to display menu. So and now I want to print